Hello everyone, welcome to Scorched Earth Toys at anymoon.com's exploration of the most unique Yamato and Arcadia 160 scale VF-1 Valkyrie toys. Excluding reissues that retained the original packaging, Yamato and Arcadia have combined for 65 version 2 releases. If we further exclude super part bundles, weathering and premium versions, reissues in new packages, and unpainted or unassembled versions of the toys, there have been 25 unique paint schemes released. Of those, only 3 were never seen in the animation, and those 3 are the toys we're going to focus on today. Now, you might be wondering, what if I fall in love with one of these toys? Where can I buy it? Well, they're all sold out, so you're going to have to scour the secondary market. Macross collecting has never been easy, but if you're into collecting anything else, I recommend shopping at Big Bad Toy Store. And the best way to get there is through my campaign link in the comments below. You'll get what you want, and you'll help me out by doing it. The boxes for the low-vis and 35th anniversary toys are unremarkable. Yamato had ditched the flip-top lid prior to the low-vis release, so you get the typical thin cardboard with some basic Photoshop work. Skipping ahead to the 35th anniversary toy, the box artwork has changed, but the idea is the same. That toy doesn't even have a colored tray inside. That's juxtaposed to the Arcadia 30th Anniversario release that featured a sleeve over the box with some lovely Tenjin art and an interior box with gold foil text and a flip-top lid. It still sold so poorly it might as well have been in a paper bag. 160 version 2 toys come in one of 2 primary flavors: Do You Remember Love releases and TV releases. The difference being the style of the pilot and the style and count of the fixed-posed hands. One presumes Yamato excluded Do You Remember Love style fixed-posed fists since the articulated hands already resemble them. As the Arcadia toys commemorate TV show-related anniversaries, it makes sense that Arcadia made them TV-style releases. Each includes 4 bulbous fixed-posed hands and a pilot with a TV-style helmet and flight suit. For whatever reason, Yamato felt that the low-vis VF-1S Fokker custom would fit better in the Do You Remember Love universe, so that toy only has 2 fixed-posed hands and a pilot with the pointier helmet and shoulder pads. All toys contain a gun, but the low-vis toy's gun has a silvery hue to it, and the 30th Anniversario toys doesn't have UN Spacey on it for some reason. You can think of lots of fun in-universe excuses for that if you want. All toys come with 4 Do You Remember Love style missiles and 4 sets of TV missiles, but the missiles that come with the low-vis toy are the same gray as the VF-1. You also get 2 display stand adapters and 1 nose cone adapter for the removable nose cone gimmick. Below the clamshell, both Arcadia toys also include option parts that became standard long after the release of the Yamato low-vis VF-1S. Option parts consist of side and neck cavity fillers and a pilot seat to simulate the pilot coming and going from Battroid mode. The Arcadia 30th Anniversario toy also has a rudimentary display stand and nameplate. While all of these toys have instructions and stickers behind the tray, the 30th Anniversario takes it up a notch by giving you 2 sets of stickers and 2 sets of water slide decals, and they even made a custom instruction guide for it. This is the display stand that comes only with the 30th Anniversario version of the toy. And to install the toy on the display stand, you can go ahead and put the gun on. You can have all your weapons on there, however you want to display it. Just line up the back little winglets or finlets here with the edge of the plastic, and it'll kind of sit just like this. There's nothing articulated, obviously. It just achieves this position. It'd be kind of cool if you could buy like a 10-pack of these, if you had lots of these Valkyries and display them all like this. That might be kind of neat. As a one-off thing, it's questionable how much mileage you'll really get out of it. Now you can use this same display stand with any other VF-1 you have lying around, obviously, if it'd make a good use of 10 of them. So there you go. Just same thing, no gun on there. This is what it looks like if you do that. So that works out. If you're using Super or Strike parts, you can't use the gun if you also want to use this display stand. And it doesn't feel like it's natively working, but you can kind of make it work out anyways. So again, I'm just lining up the back, and then I kind of push this forward. Now it doesn't latch on quite like it does when you're not using strike parts, but it's on there well enough seemingly where I could do the same sort of display. But again, I can't use the gun if I'm using fast packs or strike parts. The other thing we get with this release is a little nameplate. So we can have our toy up on our display stand. And then we get this piece of plastic here that we could put in front and put something on there, and that's cool enough. Unfortunately, it's not something that you can slide whatever you're gonna put in there within it. It just sits on top of a piece of paper. So if I take this piece of paper, put that right on top of there, there you go. Obviously that could say 30th Anniversario, but that is your complete display. The low-vis VF-1S Fokker toy comes with a rainbow tint on the canopy. Yamato stopped doing that a little bit later because that rainbow tint started to crack on people and obviously didn't look very good. The Anniversario and 35th Anniversary toys are the only toys that come with tinted canopies. You have the orange tint and the gray tint, which works really well with their individual paint schemes. All of these toys come with missiles. You get either the Do You Remember Love style box set missiles, which just clip onto the wing, or you get the TV style missiles. Now these are the low vis TV style missiles, but they're all the same except for color. And they feature the ability to have individually removable missiles, which will be cool for you diorama builders. Now to install the missiles on the toy, you have to angle them on the hard point and then plug them in, and then that ability to pivot allows you to move the wing however you want and still get them facing forward. Now, you can see mine has a sweet spot that it wants to be in, and so that's a little bit problematic. A bigger problem that you'll find on some of these toys is that the hard point actually shears off. So you want to be careful. I haven't had that problem with the 3 toys in this video, but I've definitely seen it elsewhere. Now you also have intake fans with intake fan covers. This is the intake fan cover. I obviously have removed it here. You just peel it forward to show off those fans there, which is pretty cool. Turning the toy upside down, we have the integrated landing gear. The front one has an articulated tow bar. We can just push this down, close that up, and that's what it looks like closed. Going to the back, similar deal here. We got all 3 doors, nice translucent pieces at the front of the door. We also have the ability to plug in the gun. There's a slot right there. You would have to just bring a leg down to create a little more room, and then you can push that right in and it will stay in there nice and tight. Let's do 50 Shades of Fokker. On the left, we have the low-vis VF-1S. This is the original Yamato Off-White for Do You Remember Love releases. This is the TV style release. This is the first TV style release. They reissued it a little bit later. Even at the first release, they had moved away from the rainbow canopy. So there you can see just a clear canopy. This is an Arcadia Do You Remember Love VF-1S Fokker. You could see they adopted the TV style white for all of their releases, which is smart, gives them a reason to, gives you a reason to buy any VF-1A reissues they might do someday. From a painted on detail standpoint, there's a couple very minor changes. Now it's worth noting that my toy has a sticker on it here and on the Prometheus on the tail fin there. Those are stickers, they don't come painted on. But what is painted on is that little red door right there and these black stripes. If I take a look at any of these other toys, you will not find those markings. So no red door, no black stripes. So that is a change that they made along the way. Now the other thing you can see pretty clearly are the low-vis kites on either side of the toy there. But you might be curious how it stacks up against the original Yamato 148 low-vis toy, which we see here. Obviously a lighter gray throughout, and I am definitely partial to the gray that was used on the 148. I think this is an odd color for a low-vis. This to me kind of is a sky blue. This is sort of a night sky blue, or night sky gray. You can use it on either version there. So that's your color comparison for the low-vis. It's really important to note about the Yamato V2 and Arcadia VF-1 toys is that they hold together very well. There's not very much metal in them. They are very light to handle, but what they do is they tab together in all the right spots to have a nice firm feel and fit finish. So here you can see everything is tucking together very tightly in the back. The toy handles incredibly well. The missile's not falling off, the gun not falling off. The landing gear stay in position if you roll it on those rubber wheels. So this thing holds together great in fighter mode, much better than any previous VF-1 toy, including the Yamato 148, which had been the high water mark up until this release. And it cuts a very nice silhouette. It's very anime accurate as far as transforming toys go. So overall, very high marks for all of these toys, regardless of their paint scheme. Let's go ahead and switch to Gerwalk mode. As you move towards Gerwalk mode, or VTOL mode as I have here, you might be tempted to pull out the Anniversario's display stand again. It's not going to work. It is too small to work with Gerwalk, and obviously it doesn't work with Battroid mode, so it is a fighter mode only display stand you've got. But while we're talking about display stands, you do get this adapter with the toy, and that adapter is for use with either the Arcadia simple display stand you see here, and you can see I've got the adapter plugged in right there. I'm not going to go over how to use the adapter since the display stands aren't included with the toy, but this is what it looks like. Or you might have one of the old Yamato launch arm display stands. Same deal. It just plugs in underneath the head like so. And that is what that adapter is. Again, you don't get any display stand, so it's going to be up to you to go track one of those down. When you get to Gerwalk mode, you will reveal the articulated hands for the first time. So you can see there's a wrist, they're on a pivot, you have a trigger finger, you have the other fingers articulated as one joint, and then that thumb that comes over. You do also have the fixed posed hands as an option here. So I can just pull this right off, and I can reach into my bag of parts and grab maybe the TV style gun holding hand. So there you can see much bigger hand for the TV style there. And I wanted to show you also, this is the Yamato 148 hand that preceded it. Almost the exact same hand, but now it's on a 160 scale toy, so it looks much, much better. So the articulated hands on these toys, a big step up from the Yamato 148. So all you have to do to install it, just plug it right in and you are ready to go. And again, we can do the same thing on the other side, just pop that off. We'll use the open palm hand. And now with the TV style toys, we did get 2 sets of fixed posed hands. I could throw a gun in there, obviously. Here are the fists on the Anniversario toy. And then for the Do You Remember Love version, which was only the low vis out of this group, we have this fixed posed holding the gun hand and this open hand, and that's it. Couple gimmicks I've failed to mention thus far. You do have an opening canopy, and flipping the toy over, you do have the ability to lower the head down and then angle it in a different direction, which I think we see in Do You Remember Love at one point. So he can be firing those cannons as well in fighter or Gerwalk mode. We could also take this head off entirely, push this little collar that it was on down and make it flat, flip the toy over, and completely remove the nose cone, which takes a lot of force, especially the first time you do it. And then we can go to our parts bin and pull out this piece here, which we will then thread into the nose like so. Now it doesn't grab from both sides, it's only grabbing from one side. So when you take some other toy and you say, let's recreate the, saving Hikaru and Minmay from the earlier episodes, you can go ahead and pop this onto the forearm of the toy. It'll stay on there pretty well, but if you angle this arm in certain directions, it'll droop or potentially fall off. You could also put that on a fighter mode vehicle and stow it beneath as well. The Yamato V2 and Arcadia toys do Gerwalk mode very well. The shoulders get out of the way of the wings and give you enough articulation. You can have fun handling the toy. There's also the nice twist point at the knees that let the legs get nice and well splayed. You do occasionally, with the other joints being tight, cause a intake to get unpegged. Not a big deal. You can usually peg that right back in. Now with the Anniversario toy in particular, I would have loved it if they used black feet and the back of the knees being black. I think that would have helped improve the look. In contrast, the low vis toy Has the same gray metallic sheen on the feet, back of the knees, and the interior accents. And I think that looks really good and really clean. The 35th anniversary toy has nice dark feet, but it also has a little bit of a different color on the back of the knee. Obviously, it's the back of the knee, no big deal. Overall, Gerwalk mode. I think the 35th and the 30th Anniversario toys look best in fighter mode, but like all Yamato V2 and Arcadia toys, they do Gerwalk mode very well. Option parts. I mentioned the 35th anniversary and Anniversario toys come with option parts, and what those are, again, side cavity fillers and behind the neck cavity filler. In contrast, the low-vis VF-1S happened before option parts. Here you can see cavity, no cavity, cavity, no cavity. Now the Anniversario toy has black cavity fillers, which probably would work with something like the low-vis toy. And just because this toy came out before option parts existed doesn't mean that option parts will work with them. There was no changes to the mold to accommodate those option parts. Now there is one more option part you get. It has the seat coming out of that neck cavity filler. It's a separate neck cavity filler with a seat. You put the pilot on. This is what it looks like. It's kind of cool for displays and dioramas. This toy does Battroid mode as well as it did Gerwalk and fighter modes. Everything holds together nice and firm. Nothing seemingly falling apart as you handle the toy. Articulation is pretty good also. The head is not on a ball joint, but it does twist back and forth and go up and down at the base of the neck, and then it's on a pivoting flap as well. My one gripe always is this little priest collar, which is made even worse on the Anniversario toy because you get those little white triangles that sort of accent it and make it look like it's wearing a cheap 70s tuxedo. But we'll move back to articulation here. You can spin the shoulder all the way around. The plate on top of the shoulder articulated as well. And then you can bring the arm out and there's a twist right below the shoulder. You have a double jointed elbow with a great range of motion. And then you've seen what we can do with the fists already. There's no waist joint, but you do have a nice ability to bring the legs in. You're gonna have to watch out for those little antennae on the nose as you do that. But you can bring them back, you're gonna hit the wings. You can bring them forward, you're gonna hit the wings also. And that's where the Gerwalk joint will come in handy for a little further range of motion. Obviously you can rock in and out as well, which is great. And then we have going down the knee, which gives you about 90 degrees of motion. And you can extend it to get just a little bit more. And then also coming forward, which you've seen in Gerwalk mode. So that's all good. And obviously there is a twist in there as well. It's a firm joint to push back up in. And then we get down to the foot. The foot has a little rock back and forth. No real twist action to speak of. And you can also extend it to get more action out of it. Press it back in for a nice sturdy Battroid mode. So articulation, for the most part, really good. You're gonna be able to get this toy in some really fun poses. And even better, it's gonna handle great the whole time. It's not gonna try to fall over on you. It's not gonna try to fall apart. It is nice and solid. Now, one thing I don't do with these toys, though you certainly could, there's a little hook here that comes up and should grab to get the backpack on there, but it presses so tight that the antenna leave little marks on the vertical stabilizers. So I don't really like to do that. Generally, it's totally unnecessary. That hinge is stiff enough where, except in handling, it's gonna stay there. You bump it, sure, you might have to push it back up, but that's about it. So, do you like your paint schemes boring or over-the-top gaudy? If so, then maybe one of these is for you. I think the anniversary toys both do much better in fighter mode than any other mode. I'd go so far as to say the 35th anniversary toy is very attractive in fighter mode, but you've seen the toys now in every mode, so you can draw your own conclusions. If you're wondering how these will fit in your display case, they're 24 centimeters long in fighter mode, which, as you can see, will save you quite a bit of space over a 1/48 scale toy. In Battroid mode, they stand 21 centimeters tall. As I said before, there's essentially no metal here, so the toys are light at 190 grams, but they're crisp and tight, and though the mold is now a decade old, They're still great toys, and I encourage fans of transforming vehicles to buy at least one Yamato 160 version 2 or Arcadia VF-1 toy. If not one of these paint schemes, you have 22 others to choose from. Check out anymoon.com for my full article, subscribe, and thanks for watching.